Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Augmented Enterprise Summit. I'm Jeff from Brain Exchange, and very excited to have everyone here joining us. And this is the 10th actual Augmented Enterprise Summit. So for those of you who have been with us before, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, I'm excited to welcome you to our community of XR innovators, problem solvers. Excited everyone's joining us. And I'm going to be quick here, so I just want to give a couple of housekeeping items to announce, which is first and foremost, please silence your mobile devices in the sessions out of respect for the speakers and your fellow attendees. Refreshments, lunch, all the food and drinks will be served in the exhibit hall, which is up the staircase right out the door. Do not hesitate to approach any member of the Brain Exchange team with any questions or anything we can kind of help with, and use the app to reference the latest kind of agenda. There's been a couple of changes from what you see in your workbook. And finally, this is key. I encourage everyone in the room to be a part of the conversation, ask questions, share your experiences, your insights, and with all that said, I'm going to introduce now today's chair, the person who's going to kind of be taking you on the day one journey, Brad Scoggin from Arbor XR. Let's give him a hand.
Thanks, Jeff. How are all the Astros fans doing today? Okay. I'm not a baseball fan at all, so I live in Southern California. I went to a Dodgers game once, and I have a hat. And every time I wear it, people walk up to me and start telling me about, or ask me about players' names, and I'm like, I don't know yet. Just for looks, for style. But welcome. I can't believe it's the 10th Augmented Enterprise Summit. Started back in 2015. I think we had a few years where we did two. I got to MC day two. I like calling it a chair. Chair does make it feel a little more like I have more authority and power, but I'm just the MC. I got to do day two last year. It was a lot of fun, so I talked Jeff into letting me do day one this year. And so I get to spend the day with you, and I'll try to make it light and fun and maybe slip in a few jokes. My name is Brad Scoggin. I am the CEO of... let me see. Can I get the slides up when you get a sec? I'm CEO of Arbor XR. There we go. Also one of three co-founders. And we do device management. There we go. Device management for XR, so managing the devices, content, and what happens inside the headset. And we've been doing it for 7 long years. And as you all know, 7 years in VR is a really long time, or in XR, really long time, really, really long time. I think 5 years is a long time. But we survived kind of the early hype cycle of raising a lot of money and companies going out of business. We survived COVID. We had a lot of location-based business during that time. So we went to zero revenue for almost a year. That was fun to survive that. But we got a big deal with HP that allowed us to pivot into enterprise in 2021. So since 21, we have been focused on serving the people in this room. Today, we have almost 2,500 different companies on our platform in over 90 countries. We work with about 100 of the Fortune 500, Global 2000, so many of you in this room. We work with a lot of the top content creators. Actually, one of the things we just launched is a directory for content. One of the pain points we found from working with all of you is that it's really difficult to find good content. And even once you find the good content, there's a long process that you have to go through. So we've done a lot of the work of vetting app developers. We've got demos available, so you can check that out. And then we work with a lot of the hardware companies. And I say all of that because I absolutely want to give a shameless plug to Arbor. You all need Arbor. But I think we sit in a very unique position in the marketplace, kind of at a crossroads of hardware, of content, and of the enterprise. And it's just a unique perspective to see what's happening. And we see, I mean, many of our big customers, most of our big customers all use a traditional or legacy, what we call UEM or MDM for their cell phones and tablets. And when they get serious about XR, they come to Arbor. We also have several companies that started off early with one of the all-in-one MSPs, and just as the market has evolved, have moved away from that to a more open platform. And then maybe one of the most important things, I think, from our perspective, we believe that we exist to help remove friction. We all know that in XR, friction as almost the death of XR, right? It's death by 1,000 cuts. And so at the POC stage, the proof of concept is just so important. You get one shot at a first impression in life. Oftentimes, that's especially true with XR. And so we're often come in, even at the POC stage, to help the XR champion, make a good presentation to leadership. But just a few other, just quick encouragements before I introduce the man of the hour who actually came to here today, Mr. Diez. Just a couple quick encouragements. So we started a podcast earlier this year, which you can check this out as well. And I will say, this is maybe the only group of people on the planet that I would say you would enjoy this. Our families say, "Oh, you have a podcast." And I don't, it's not interesting at all if you're not in XR. But we have interviewed many of your colleagues, and people share really exciting stories, challenges, results, what they've learned. And I was kind of drug into this by our marketing team, but it's been amazing. We've learned a ton. I've learned a ton during the interview, the pre-interview, the post-interview. And one of the things that I feel just very confident in, and you see it throughout the day with the agenda, is that XR is absolutely happening now in the enterprise space. And we've seen it from the last 9 months, 6 months, 3 months. Our signups have gone like this. And it's across industry. I think that's a very interesting point, that it's industry agnostic. It's companies who have the most forward-thinking L&D departments who jumped in early, but the results are the same across all the industries. We have several big retail companies at different points in their journey, all having a lot of success. So that's one bit of encouragement. And the other thing I'll say, that I think it's important for all of us to remember, to some degree, maybe why we got into XR to begin with. We all have our day-to-day. We're pushing our initiatives forward. But if we can take a step back, one of the observations I've made, and I know this sounds a little bit dramatic, but I really, really believe that VR is enabling a learning revolution. I don't know at what other point in history there has been this order of magnitude increase in the speed at which people learn, 4 times faster, the amount of information people retain, 16 times more information, and then just the accessibility to really, really powerful learning. And so I think it's important, and it should be encouraging to all of us that we are a part of something bigger than just pushing our own initiatives forward. We're a part of helping change the way I think people learn, which is powerful and helps me get up every morning and keep pushing forward. So now the man of the hour, the keynote here, not the chair, is from Magic Leap, Daniel Diez. We've got to interview Daniel on the podcast. Daniel is the Chief Transformation Officer at Magic Leap, which is a very impressive title, I think. Transformation, he's got a big job. We all know Magic Leap. Magic Leap's been around since 2010. I think they have over 4,000 patents. And Daniel's the guy they brought in to move them from a consumer company who was somewhat closed off to an enterprise-focused company who's been much more transparent. We got to have some of our team on site with them earlier this year and kind of see behind the scenes, and just very, very impressive what they've done. If you haven't been tracking with them or checked out their new technology. And one other interesting fact about Daniel is that he has a background in psychiatry. So he's got a really nice blend of marketing, psychiatry, and now he's the guy who's made the shift from consumer to enterprise. So welcome to the stage, Daniel Diez.
Thanks very much. If you're invited, I highly recommend, I'm going to step away because I have a mic here. If you're invited, I highly recommend the podcast. This was a lot of fun. They did a lot of prep. It was a great conversation, and it was a good time. Okay, so I'm Daniel Diez, with the person with the weirdest title at Magic Leap, but the Chief Transformation Officer, which is really about helping our customers, helping our ecosystem partners, and even helping Magic Leap continue that journey around being an enterprise first company, and how we can actually leverage these technologies to drive real transformation, both for ourselves and, of course, for our customers. So I want to talk a bit today about hype cycles, and I think we're all very familiar with them. We get trapped in them all the time. I think Magic Leap, was caught in numerous hype cycles around augmented reality technology. The current one around AI is really interesting. But the interesting thing is, these are not new, obviously, and the doom and gloom around them I always find very, very amusing. So you take a look at these articles from, this is a Newsweek cover from 1997, The Brain's Last Stand, all about how AI was going to basically eliminate the need for every single person in this room to even exist, right? Then you have, DeepMind beating the Go champion, you have Watson beating Jeopardy. Pretty interesting what we're seeing, and here we are in yet another hype cycle around AI. What's AR, of course, no stranger to this. Our friends over at Meta really started a great one a couple of years ago when they changed their name and they announced they were going to spend $10 billion a year on the metaverse, right? Whole hype cycle. Everybody's wondering, are we all going to live in these virtual worlds? We're going to be Ready Player One. Interesting to see what happens when these come through and people begin to understand at a surface layer how these technologies might change. The sort of common thread here always is that it goes to this nth degree, and it's never really based in any reality. What's really interesting about the hype cycles is what happens in between. It's the interstitial moments between hype cycles where the work actually gets done, and really interesting things start to happen. You think about AI, you think about the advertising industry. I came from the advertising industry many years ago. And what it's done for that entire industry and the ability to deliver and create advertising has created trillions of dollars of value, and that happened between the last hype cycle and now. And now here we are with ChatGPT, and people are worried about, are we going to need people to write those ads anymore? I think it's these interstitial moments that have become really, really important, and the people who move first in these moments are the ones that really get the outsized rewards. It's interesting because you look at the adoption curve of new technologies, and this is taking a look at how many people or how many companies are in that first mover, early adopter sort of portion of the adoption curve. And you compare that to the late majority and the laggards, and they are far, far fewer people on the front end. Why is that? Why is it so scary to make that jump? Is it because they don't understand? They don't understand the value proposition? Are they risk averse? If you're risk averse, you should take a look at the Fortune 1000 from 2003. Take a look at the Fortune 1000 list from 2003, and you look at the Fortune 1000 list today, and you'll notice that 70% of the companies that were there in 2003 are not there today. And I think a big part of that is about a fear and about moving too slowly around business and digital transformation. I think that AR is at that moment right now where we're beginning to see first movers. I think we're trapped a little bit in POC roundabout, but we're seeing first movers really begin to go in deep and figure out how do we leverage this technology to really change our business? How are we transforming what we do operationally, training, going to market? All these things are now being experimented with AR, and we're beginning to see real interesting scaling of those POCs inside of companies. But for us at Magic Leap, when we look at the landscape, it's really about this integration of the physical and digital. It's about integrating this content into the physical world so you can actually leverage it for its maximum value. It is not about avatars. It is not about removing people from the physical world. The value of AR for us really lies in integrating intelligent content and integrating it contextually into the world around you. Having it be what you need, where you need it, when you need it, and how you need it. So think about, this is a firefighter training application. You can think about it, though, in manufacturing. You're a manufacturing employee. I need to know if what I'm doing is correct. It needs to be able to correct my mistakes. It needs to know where I am in that factory floor in relation to everything else that's going on, the machinery, the line, what's in front of me. And it needs to give me the content to guide me along right then and there. Intelligent content, aware of the world around it, where, when, and how I need it, contextually integrated. That is the key for the maximum value of this technology at this moment in time, especially as it deals with the enterprise. I include this, and not to insult you, but it's really funny to me how often, even in a room like this, how many variations people have or interpretations they have of this technology. And on the customer side, for all of you that are working with customers trying to help them understand how to leverage this tech, it's even more surprising just how much confusion there is about these different technologies and what they're actually really good at, because each one of them has incredible use cases and can deliver value. It's just about how you apply it and what your actual needs are, right? VR. So I don't need to explain what VR is to people in this room, but obviously you are completely occluded from the physical world. And I think that for gaming, for entertainment, there are training applications, anything where you're stationary and you don't require vision into the physical world you're around. VR is an incredible technology. It's been revolutionary, and I think it will continue to be a big portion of what we use going forward. Pass-through VR, I think, is phenomenal. It's done away with the safety hazard of virtual reality. You finally now can immerse yourself into a fully digital environment that recreates the physical world around you. It's fantastic. You eliminate that safety. I could wear it and not fall off the stage, which would be funny for you and bad for me. But I think that the issue of lag is one that that we have to address here, and we have to be just really conscious of. So if you are on a factory floor and there's moving machinery, or you're in motion, and you're going to different environments, the device has a hard time capturing that environment, rendering it quickly enough so that there's none of that lag. So you think about factory floors, you think about a doctor or a surgeon using this, overlaying a surgical map on top of a patient. Think about a first responder, a police officer doing active shooter training. Any lag is a non-starter. It's just not possible. But there are 1,000 use cases for pass-through VR, and I think as a bridge technology, it is a great step. AR, optical see-through, is for us the holy grail. I think that is it's where we think the entire industry will go. I think it's where we'll see the most value, and I think it's where we can deliver the most value right now. The ability to see your physical world with your own eyes, and to integrate that content into the physical world, where you need it, how you need it, when you need it. That for us is the holy grail, as I said. So we can do this in factory floors. You can be in motion. You can be aware of machinery moving around you. The content that you're placing in the world is also aware of all that movement, your own movement, where you are in the physical place. Think about medicine. Think about first responder training, military training. All those things require optical see-through for it to be safe, effective, and actually be able to deliver value. Okay, so if we want to box these things in, and everybody loves to put things in boxes, virtual reality is really about removing yourself from that physical world and immersing yourself in an environment that is purely digital and getting value through that purely digital environment. Augmented reality is about immersing yourself further into this physical world and really augmenting yourself with content that's going to make you better, faster at what you're trying to do. So for business and for the Magic Leap, for the businesses we're going into, our businesses don't have the luxury of escaping into a virtual world. We really don't, because business for them happens in the real world, on the factory floor, in an architectural studio, in a construction site. These are real physical environments where that technology needs to be leveraged. And for us, and where we're going as a company and where we're delivering value, you cannot be meaningfully productive if you're not actually grounded into the physical. So this is why we created Magic Leap 2. Magic Leap is a company that is well known. Our initial product really geared toward the consumer market. Massive pivot, really executed initially by Roni, the founder of Magic Leap, the visionary who brought this technology to the world, and then really focused by Peggy Johnson, who's the CEO of Magic Leap, who really focused the company on a set of verticals and really delivering value specifically geared toward those. So why we did it, why we think so strongly about augmented reality and the way we built Magic Leap is because you need that realistic integration of that content into the physical world. It needs to be comfortable. Devices, as you all know, they tend to be big, they're hot, they're heavy. Field of view isn't always amazing, so you lose that sense of immersion. And so we needed to make sure it was comfortable enough to be worn all day. We have surgeons who wear Magic Leap for 8 hours with the additional battery pack, and it is comfortable enough to do that. And then the safety aspect of it, we talked about. Being aware of the physical surroundings and not having it remove you from that is a critical safety issue for us in the use cases we're going after. So the big things that we had to overcome. So if this technology is so amazing, if it delivers so much value, if we're at the precipice of this, this moment where we can actually leverage it to do great things, what are the holdouts? What's the holdup? Typically, it's been what I mentioned, ergonomics. I think the compute power has been lacking a lot of time. I think that's been a huge issue, especially for the level of rendering that has to happen on device for a lot of these applications. The enterprise readiness was a big one, and that was a big hurdle Magic Leap had to cross going from Magic Leap 1 to Magic Leap 2, is making this thing really capable of being integrated safely into an IT stack. The ease of development was another one. The ecosystems, it depends on the company, but they tend to be pretty closed off. You don't have a lot of content available, so that is a big drawback. Ease of use was another one. And then the optics. The optics being able to deliver crisp, content that has high color fidelity and can be used in a variety of environments. Brightly lit environments have been the death knell of great AR because you have a light additive technology competing with natural light. And so we had to really focus on how to deliver true black in a headset so we can actually dim the background behind that content, either specifically behind a very remote specific piece of content or the entire background. And so Magic Leap's been able to figure this out so that if I'm a surgeon operating on a patient, I can keep that brightly lit patient in front of me and darken the top half or quarter of my screen and have all of my readings, my EKGs, and everything else I need with a black background behind it. So it has high contrast, and I can go back and forth. And if I want, I can completely darken the background, I think to around 98%, and mimic a VR environment if that's what I need for the moment in time for that task, and then can completely take it off and go back to optical see-through. So going into the ecosystem and the strategy behind content, Magic Leap is not interested in a walled garden. We're not interested in profiting off of our ISVs, actually. What we're interested in doing is making sure there's as much content as humanly possible that's going to deliver value for the verticals we're going after. This is a really important part of what we're doing. In the beginning, we had to create a proprietary OS because nobody would build an OS for XR for Magic Leap. It just, at that time, this just wasn't done. And now, thanks to the partnership with Android, we have an Android-based operating system, and it opens us to an entirely new ecosystem of developers and a ton of content, even 2D content that can be leveraged on the platform. The engines that we support, Unity and Unreal, there are more. I mean, MRTK, the more the better for us. We want to get as much content as possible. We support our developers to really make sure that we can deliver to our customer, the end customer, relevant, valuable solutions that can help them change their business. And of course, adhering to OpenXR. We do this because we need to build the ecosystem. Magic Leap is not going to build it alone, obviously. We're 1,000 people in South Florida or around the world. But I think that this ethos, this open ethos, is a necessary component of building out the ecosystem and making this technology ubiquitous. And for us, it does great things for Magic Leap. Obviously, our technology gets leveraged in ways that we want to see it. It helps the developer community develop their skills, develop great content, monetize their content, and it helps the end customer. Because the more we can demonstrate ROI, the more we can move beyond this POC roundabout and get into the full deployment of this technology, the better every single person in this ecosystem will be. Okay, so I talked about first movers and how the first movers get the outside reward. So who are the first movers right now? What are people actually doing with this technology? When I was putting this together, I figured this would probably be the best thing to sort of unpack is where Magic Leap is seeing traction. How are people using our technology? What are they actually doing with it? For us, remote collaboration, visualization and simulation of 3D and spatial data, training applications that require you to be grounded in the physical space that you're in, and remote assistance, which is, I think, my personal favorite one, which we'll go through in a few minutes what they actually are. The sectors that we're going after, the verticals that we're seeing the most adoption, the most lean in from companies. Public sector is a big one for us. Firefighters, police officers, EMTs, defense forces, and by the way, that not just in the training you might think, not just in active training for a shooter or military training, MRO is a huge one. And the Army is the largest holder of equipment in the United States. Repairing that is incredibly costly and complicated, and having to fly people around to do things is really not a very efficient way of doing it. Remote assistance and the ability to have training applications come up, recognize the machinery in front of you, and guide you through a repair is invaluable. It saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money. It's also environmentally a really great thing to do to not have to fly people around constantly. Manufacturing and industrial, one of our absolute best use cases. The training time in manufacturing goes down so radically. I think the last number we saw was 80%. 80% reduction in training time. Incredible. So you think about manufacturing and what's going on in manufacturing. Ask a manufacturer what the biggest issue they're facing right now. They're going to tell you it's not supply chain. They're not going to say it's this recession that everybody keeps threatening to happen. They're not going to tell you it's shipping. They're not going to tell you it's the cost of goods. They're going to tell you it's people. It's retiring workforces, taking tribal knowledge with them, and the inability to get younger people to join in the manufacturing workforce because they think of it as a dead-end, old-school career. You insert something like augmented reality into the process, and what we've seen is 80% reduction in training time, 25% reduction in waste on the factory line. Okay, that's efficiency right there. And if it's a training application, it better do those things better. What was interesting is that you start to see recruitment times go down because you slip on a Magic Leap headset, and all of a sudden this old school manufacturing job is seen as high tech. So that's another big lever they need to pull. And then you see on the end, you see a higher level of engagement of those employees. Employees trained on Magic Leap and using Magic Leap on the factory line are more engaged in their job. They're more empowered. They don't have to go ask as many questions. They're guided through. They feel that they have some autonomy in that situation. They are more engaged. More engaged employees stay longer. So now we have a solution that is recruiting people faster, training them faster and cheaper, making them better at their job and thus saving me money, and keeping them longer. Those are all the levers manufacturing is looking to pull right now. You look at healthcare, unbelievable advances in healthcare. We just had another company, Centiar, just get their FDA clearance for cardiac catheterization solution, where in the past, you'd have to do it through a 2D monitor, and they're recreating 3D vessels right in front of the doctor's eyes as they guide a catheter through the body. We're seeing knee replacement solutions that are being brought to market that are going to reduce the cost of delivering high-tech knee replacement, which now is currently done by a robot. The robot costs $1 million. So who gets that robot? University medical centers, urban medical centers. If you live in New York City, great. You're going to have the best care possible. You're going to have the most precise knee operation money can buy. But the rural hospital center and the community hospital centers don't get that because they can't financially make the case for $1 million robot. The solution that's being developed by a company in South Florida costs $100,000. That all of a sudden becomes an incredible democratization of healthcare. This device, it's 60601 certified, meaning it can be taken into the operating room. It is a portable medical device. That is incredible. That is going to completely change the access to care and our ability to deliver care in remote locations. Architecture, engineering, construction. I was just on a panel on smart cities, and it was interesting how everybody's got all these incredible ideas of how we can connect all these buildings and the information infrastructure necessary, but we still build them in the same way we've been building them. And you think about, we've got this great partner, GeoPogo, who does unbelievable architectural renderings, and the time and design in general, from reviewing a design and talking to your client, making those changes, going back, having to do another presentation, the iterations happen much more quickly when it's right in front of you. You can render literally on device or using the cloud and keep on going. You cut the design time down dramatically. And then the idea of maintaining those buildings with all that incredible data, the BIM data that comes through, and having that visualized in front of you, the ability to actually sequence construction in a way that you're not doing rework. Rework, we've got this great partner, that says that rework in construction, the having to undo things and redo them because of mistakes made in the order of operations, is a $500 billion problem. If you can be guided through visually and told, no, don't put that HVAC trunk there because you've got a conduit that has to go behind there first and you're going to have to rip it down anyway, that's incredible time savings. And it empowers the person doing the work to understand how to stop mistakes before they happen. And then retail, the idea of a shoppable world and redoing the retail environment that within your home. Shopping online is going to become a radically different thing when you can actually present product in a way that it feels like it's right in front of you. Okay, so that's all great. Where is it actually happening? So the partnership with Cisco is probably one of our greatest. I think the WebEx hologram software and solution is probably the best 3D rendering of a human being I've ever seen. You put on the Magic Leap, and you feel like you're sitting in front of somebody, and they're bringing models into you. Car model, architectural models, and these physical objects are manipulated by you and the person sitting right in front of you, and they are as real as you are in front of me. It is a phenomenal thing. I think that if AR is going to change collaboration and communication, it can't be 3D Zoom. That's not enough. We don't need yet another video platform. We need the ability to actually collaborate in ways that are real, and Cisco has done an incredible job at that. Magic Leap has brought forward Magic Leap Assist, our first-party reference applications. And it allows you to guide someone through a task, even if you're a continent away. So here we have somebody working on a laptop or a computer. It could be an iPad, and they're guiding somebody through and annotating their physical world. I'm wearing a Magic Leap, and you are in China, and you're annotating the factory in front of me, guiding me through a procedure, circling things I need to pick up, telling me where to put that drill bit, connect this wire, drawing an arrow. That ability to manipulate and annotate my physical world, even though you're not in the room with me, game changer. It's been incredible. And on the sustainability side, it's going to be incredible for companies who spend a lot of time putting people on planes. Magic Leap Workshop is an incredible collaboration tool that really deals with physical models and our ability to manipulate and review them. And it's built for just that, mostly for design review and collaboration. We have an incredible partnership with Mercedes-Benz and also with Audi. where they're using Magic Leap to help design and bring to life new concept cars. The Audi one, the Active Sphere, is removing controls from the car, physical controls. You slip on Magic Leap, obviously you have a steering wheel, but it actually can go away if you want to control the car using AR. And all the controls, think about environmental controls, sound controls, all of that is done through digital interface, all delivered through Magic Leap. Training, this is the one I was just talking about, so I'll skip this one, but this is the factory in the Midwest. PBC Linear, they create highly precise rods and ball bearings. Sounds really boring. It's all for medical equipment. So it has to be precise. And because it's so precise, the tolerances are super, super low, which means lots and lots of waste. Magic Leap was able to help them reduce that waste by 25% using tactile. And it's been a huge success for them. Visualization, NVIDIA, the partnership with NVIDIA is incredible, using not only the Omniverse, but their HoloScan platform to really bring to life 3D scans of patients for surgeons and to do surgical planning. There's a great case study from Magic Leap, actually from the Magic Leap 1 days, where they used a software by BrainLab to actually train a 36-person surgical team on how to separate conjoined twins of the brain. And they trained the entire staff doing that using those 3D models. And they had a successful surgery, which is one of our favorite case studies. Centiar, this is the company that does cardiac catheterization. Cardiac catheterization, you put a catheter in through the femoral vein of a patient, and you look at a 2D screen like this, and you're guiding a catheter through a vessel while you're looking at a 2D prompt. And so your ability to understand where that catheter is in relation to the walls of the vessel are very limited to only 2 of those walls. With Magic Leap and Centiar, you slip on the device, you slip the catheter in, it's got a radio frequency tip, and immediately that vessel is recreated in 3D right in front of you, and you can see exactly where your catheter is in relation to the wall of that vessel. You guide it all the way through to the heart. You do a cardiac ablation where they create scar tissue to change the electrical activity of the heart, and you're seeing that in an EKG right in front of you in real time, all done with the Magic Leap device and all done hands-free. Magic Leap and Lowe's and NVIDIA really taking a look at how do we empower the front of store associate. You have an empty bay inside your warehouse store. You're out of stock. What are you going to replace it with? Magic Leap will scan that, understand what you have in stock, understand what fits there, and what actually moves in that location. And it can help guide the associate put the right inventory in the right spot so they can quickly get zero downtime and filling that retail flow. So those are the big right now enterprise use cases. They're across all those verticals: manufacturing, healthcare, the public sector, architecture, engineering, construction, retail. Those are where we're seeing the biggest lean in from customers, specific to the use cases that we're able to deliver right now. It's not about someday we'll be able to do this. It's actually right now. I get this question all the time, which is why I included this last slide. I know we're at the Enterprise Summit, but every single time I go in here, people say, when are you going back to consumer? When are you going to do consumer? I don't really love to talk about it like enterprise and consumer, even though that is pretty well understood. But it's about where can we point this device to deliver value? What portion of the market? And right now, it really is an enterprise. I think that's where the most value lies. But where are companies leaning in, and what are they looking at for the future when they think about consumer AR? Gaming, number one. The number one thing people talk about all the time is gaming. How am I going to augment the physical world and incorporate gaming content into that? So think about Pokemon Go, but in a very, very different way. That is one of the big ones. Live events. Look at there's a great company called Tin Drum. They did this incredible exhibition in New York at the Shed where they had 80 people in Magic Leap devices all manipulating digital content that was an art exhibit. And so when I moved things around, the other 80 people saw that all in real time. And so it's a great experience, and I think it's sort of giving us an idea of what people will start to do with this when it comes to location-based experiences. Fitness and recreation, another really big one. I think form factor is going to be a huge issue there, but I think that's another big one that people are going to. E-commerce and retail, of course, and travel and tourism. This idea of being able to pre-visit sites and really understand where you're going is a really big one for us. I think these are coming, and I think it's great to talk about them. It's great to think about technology roadmaps and think about where the market is developing and how you want to begin to feature or de-feature your devices in order to point to a piece of the market that makes sense for your company. Where is your technology defensible? Where is it differentiated? These are the things that we're looking at Magic Leap. We're looking at the use cases and the ROI across the enterprise space right now that Magic Leap's device has been well designed for. And we're looking at these future opportunities in the consumer market, or the CPN SUMER market, apparently, to really think about the future roadmap about Magic Leap and where we need to invest in our technology to make sure that it can actually serve a defensible portion of this market. The last thing I'll say to you guys is that I hate I'm a marketer by trade, and this idea that we keep talking about someday. This technology has been billed as being 5 years away for about 100 years now. It's ridiculous. And even now we see, someday in the metaverse, a doctor will be able to do this, and someday you'll be able to do this, and someday you'll... Actually, there's a whole lot you can do right now. There's a tremendous amount of value that we can deliver for customers at this moment in time. And I think we do ourselves a favor by really stopping this idea of promising the future and focus on what we can actually deliver today. Because what we can deliver today is a radical transformation of the way in which people work, the way in which they receive information, and the way they interact with the physical world around them. So if I leave you with anything, it is that please stop focusing on the future and focus on what you can do right now, because there's an incredible market for us right now, and we're delivering value, and I think that is the key to unlocking the future for Magic Leap and for AR. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Lance Benoit with ATCO. I'm curious how much field testing you guys have done with your glasses in like hot and cold environments and outdoor applications.
So the device, we really didn't talk about it being used for outdoor. I think the heat is definitely an issue, absolutely. The light issue has been figured out, but it needs to be ruggedized further if you want to go like full on in the field, training a soldier in the desert. Magic Leap is not, we're not making claims that we can do that. It is really meant to be an indoor device or outdoor adjacent device. It's the light factor that we've really been able to figure out. The next steps will be ruggedizing.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. That was great.